everybody, it's Pam Sterling again with your Outrageous Joy Raw Food Adventure. And today I'm going to share with you one of my favorite quick, easy dishes that I make very regularly. And I also want to introduce you to my favorite gadget, and that is the julienne peeler. I get the one from OXO. I've given so many of these away. I love it. And this is your handy-dandy trick to make raw noodles. I usually make cucumber noodles, and that's what we're going to make today. And then you can make lots of cool sauces and toppings and things like that to put on top of it. So what I use is the Hothouse English cucumbers, and you're going to find them in the grocery store, usually wrapped in plastic. They're the long, skinny ones. And the reason I use these is because they have less seeds in them, and I want to use kind of more the meaty part of the cucumber, and so that's why I like to use that instead of the regular cucumbers. So with the julienne peeler, it's very simple. I've already peeled my cucumber here, and what you're going to do is just drag this julienne peeler across the cucumber, and that's what's going to make your noodles. So here we go. I'm going to drag it across. You can see I've just made, in one fell swoop, a bunch of really cool cucumber noodles. So we're just going to make a whole plate of our noodles here. And I usually just go down through the center until I get to the seeds. And then I'm going to go to the next side and then just keep running the peeler along. You don't need one of those, what do they call those other things? You don't need one of those fancy kind of machines to make all this stuff. Julienne peeler, $8 or $9. Makes it super simple. So we're just going to run those cucumber noodles along, throw them on the plate, and then do not throw out the center of your cucumber. Use it in a smoothie the next day, or I like to take, and you notice I now have a square cucumber. It's really fun to take that and use your knife, and the next day or for that dinner, you can make yourself little square pieces of cucumber to put in your gazpacho or to put in your salad or something like that. So do not throw that away. So that's our cucumber noodles. As you can see, super simple. And now we're just going to make a quick, easy topping to put on it, one of my favorites. And so we are going to just make tomato basil, caper with olive oil, and a little bit of pine nuts on top of that. So we're just going to dice up our tomatoes. And you know, I'd say I usually have 1 cucumber per person. So if you're having guests, that's about what you can figure, 1 cucumber per person. And with the tomatoes, probably a tomato per person as well. So I had a half a tomato there. I'm just going to dice up the rest of this one, and then I'll be all set with my tomatoes. You can, this is one where you can leave it chunky. If you want to use little cherry tomatoes and just throw those, half those, and throw them in, you could do that as well. So I'm just going to throw this in my bowl. And then the next thing, this basil, I've been flipping over this basil. It smells so amazing, and even better if you can pick it out of your own garden. This one came pre-packaged, it's organic, came from the grocery store. The thing I like about that is it's all washed and ready to go, so that's always good. You can always pick it up at your local farmer's market too for a lot less expensive. If you haven't visited the farmer's market, by the way, check the one out in your town, because that is a fabulous way to get locally grown, often organic, and if they're not certified organic, just ask them if they use pesticides or not, and if they don't, you're good to go. So I'm going to take my basil, and I'm just going to slice through it. So I just want to, you can either tear this up or slice right through it. Again, I'm all about the speed, so I just like to slice right through it. And I just have nice little sort of pieces of basil, kind of little ribbons of basil. And I'm just going to throw that in my bowl. And a good healthy, that was a handful. Here we go. So you can see it's probably a, you know, half a handful of basil. Then the next thing we're going to do is capers. Capers are simply just pickled peppercorns, essentially. And so I love capers. There's something you can do in a raw diet, and I love them, so I like to throw a ton in there. So now I've got capers, tomato, basil. Just going to throw in a little bit of olive oil, maybe a tablespoon or so, and toss it up so you're kind of marinating it a little bit. I like to throw my salt and pepper into this. I just have my Himalayan or my Celtic sea salt in my grinder, and freshly ground pepper. I'm a big fan of freshly ground pepper. Again, just making sure that's all kind of blended together. That's ready to go now over my cucumber noodles. And wow, beautiful. And then I like to top it off with some pine nuts, just to make it pretty. And there you go. That's cucumber noodles with a tomato, basil, caper, olive oil topping with a few little beautiful pine nuts on top. It tastes fabulous. It's amazing, super simple to make. This is Pam Sterling, your Outrageous Joy Raw Foods Chef, and I'll see you next time. I'm going to try this now. I should do the happy dance. Wow. I love them. The capers are amazing, and the basil, and the tomatoes, and the pine nuts.